What was supposed to be a magical day at the happiest place on earth, Disneyland, turned into a nightmare for this family, something they would never forget. Marcelo Torres was excited when stepping on to the Big Thunder Mountain roller coaster ride in Disneyland, never imagining what horror would occur seconds later. This is the tragic death of Marcelo Torres. Marcelo Torres was a 22-year-old Navy veteran from Gardena, California. On September of 2003, he decided he wanted to go to Disneyland. It was one of his favorite places after all, and he even had aspirations to be an animator. He thought that perhaps there would be a day where he could work for Disney. On this day, he was walking around the park with his girlfriend. They went on a couple of rides together and were having a great time. Eventually, they decided that they wanted to go on a roller coaster and thought that the Big Thunder Mountain roller coaster sounded like fun. So they waited in line and eventually were strapped into their seats and ready to go. The Big Thunder Mountain roller coaster is a popular attraction with sudden drops, sharp turns, and simulated explosions. Marcelo had sat in the front of the ride, right behind the locomotive. About 1/3 of the way through the ride, as the train was entering the fastest part of the attraction, the floating axle of the locomotive shifted and derailed. The roller coaster entered the tunnel at a substantial rate of speed. The derailed wheel slammed into the brakes attached to the floor between the rails. This impact forced the rear of the locomotive up and its nose down. When the front of the locomotive struck brake 4, the back shot upwards towards the ceiling of the tunnel, violently breaking away from the cars as it pitched up. The locomotive slammed into the tunnel roof and came crashing down on top of the first passenger car. The force of the impact crushed the fiberglass and metal frame of that car. In doing so, the entire weight of the locomotive crashed down on top of Marcelo Torres, crushing his chest and pinning his body to his seat. The force of the locomotive drove his body back so far it bent the safety railing of the row behind him. Although seriously injured, Marcelo Torres was alive and struggling due to the severe impact. A Disney cast member arrived on the scene and ordered everyone out of the train. Marcelo Torres remained trapped in his seat. He died of extensive internal bleeding resulting from severe blunt force trauma to his chest, causing rib fractures and lacerations to his lung at the scene of the incident, and other injuries. His parents, James and Carmen Torres, were devastated by the news of his tragic death. His family described him as an intelligent, ambitious, and adventurous young man with a passion for traveling and exploring new places. Marcelo had recently completed his military service and was looking forward to starting a new chapter in his life. The news of Marcelo's death shook his tight-knit community, and many people came together to mourn his loss. His family received an outpouring of support and condolences from friends, neighbors, and strangers alike. Marcelo's parents expressed their shock and grief over their son's sudden and unexpected death, describing it as a tragedy that had left a hole in their hearts. The incident also raised concerns about the safety of theme park rides, and an investigation was launched to determine the cause of the accident. Nobody was certain as to why it had happened at first, of course. And with Disney being as tight-lipped as it is about injuries on their property, Marcelo's family wasn't getting any favors from them. Even so, they worked with private companies in order to launch the investigation into why their beloved family member Marcelo had to die so tragically. Following Marcelo Torres' tragic death on the Big Thunder Mountain Railroad roller coaster at Disneyland, an investigation was launched to determine the cause of the accident. The investigation was conducted by the California Division of Occupational Safety and Health, also known as OSHA. This was in tandem with private organizations that Marcelo's family contracted the help of. OSHA's investigation revealed that the cause of the accident was a maintenance issue with the ride. Specifically, it was found that the roller coaster had been operating with an improperly installed axle, which caused the train car to derail. The investigation also found that Disneyland had not properly inspected and maintained the roller coaster as required by state regulations. It's expensive and dangerous to operate a roller coaster, and therefore there are many restrictions on how it can be done and how it's required to be done. Disney was not following many of those requirements. In response to the findings, Disneyland was fined $234,000 for multiple safety violations, including failure to properly maintain the roller coaster and failure to follow proper safety protocols. This investigation didn't only shed light on a failing by Disney, however. It also uncovered a concerning lack of oversight from OSHA. Despite being responsible for inspecting and enforcing safety regulations at California amusement parks, OSHA had not conducted an inspection at Disneyland in nearly a decade. This lack of oversight allowed safety concerns to go unchecked for far too long. There were employees interviewed that didn't even know some of the regulations that were supposed to be mandatory for certain rides. The investigation also raised questions about the adequacy of theme park safety regulations. Some critics argue that theme parks should be subject to more rigorous oversight, and that the regulations currently in place were inadequate to ensure the safety of park guests. This can be seen in the fact that there have been so many deaths in theme parks throughout the years, with a large majority of them being due to negligence on the park's behalf. The investigation into Marcelo Torres' death was a tragic reminder of the importance of maintaining proper safety standards in theme parks. It's important to take a look at Disneyland's response to the incident and scrutinize what they did to ensure the safety of their guests. In the wake of Marcelo Torres' death, Disneyland issued a statement expressing their condolences to his family and acknowledging their responsibility to provide a safe environment for their guests. The company also committed to fully cooperating with the investigation and implementing additional safety measures to prevent similar incidents from happening in the future. Disneyland's response to the incident was closely scrutinized by both the media and the public, particularly given the company's history of safety incidents at its parks. In the past, there have been several deaths and injuries at Disney parks, including a 1998 incident at Disneyland Paris, in which a ride operator was killed while working on the park's Big Thunder Mountain Railroad attraction. Keep in mind that this is the exact same ride that Marcelo was killed on. Although there are admittedly small differences because the rides are in two different locations, some critics argue that Disney had not done enough to address safety concerns at its parks, and that the company was more concerned with maintaining its image than ensuring the safety of its guests. Others praised the company for its swift response to the incident and its commitment to improving safety measures. As part of their response to the incident, Disneyland implemented additional safety measures, including increased inspections and staff training, and closed the Big Thunder Mountain Railroad ride temporarily to conduct a thorough investigation and make necessary repairs. Overall, the incident and Disney's response to it served as a wake-up call for theme parks across the world, highlighting the need for increased safety regulations and improved maintenance practices. Even so, Marcelo's family was still unfortunately left without their beloved son. Following Marcelo Torres' death at Disneyland, his family pursued legal action against the theme park. In 2004, they filed a wrongful death lawsuit against Disneyland and its parent company, the Walt Disney Company, seeking damages for the loss of their son and alleging negligence on the part of the company. The lawsuit alleged that Disneyland failed to properly maintain the Big Thunder Mountain Railroad ride and ensure the safety of its guests. It also claimed that the ride had a history of safety issues and that Disney was aware of these issues but failed to take appropriate action to address them. The legal battle between the Marcelo's family and Disneyland lasted for several years, with both sides presenting extensive evidence and arguments. In the end, Disneyland settled the lawsuit with Marcelo's family for an undisclosed amount. While the exact amount of the settlement was not disclosed, it's likely that it was a substantial sum given the severity of the incident and the impact it had on Marcelo's family. In addition to seeking legal justice for their son's tragic death, Marcelo's parents also found a way to honor his memory in a way he would have loved. Marcelo was an aspiring animator, and his parents knew how much he would have appreciated an opportunity to help others pursue their own animation dreams. As a result, they donated $500,000 from their settlement winnings to Brooks College in Long Beach, California, to fund scholarships for animation students. The Marcelo Torres Animation Scholarship Fund has since helped countless students pursue their dreams of working in the animation industry. In a way, it's a fitting tribute to Marcelo, who loved animation and was pursuing his own career in the field before his life was tragically cut short. His parents' donation ensures that his legacy will continue to inspire future animators for years to come. The case highlighted the importance of holding companies accountable for the safety of their guests and the need for greater transparency and accountability in the theme park industry. In the wake of the incident, Disneyland implemented additional safety measures and committed to ongoing safety inspections and maintenance to prevent similar incidents from occurring in the future. Marcelo's death was a tragedy, and his family's legal battle with Disneyland was a difficult and emotional experience. However, it also served as a catalyst for positive change in the theme park industry, leading to greater awareness of safety issues and a renewed commitment to protecting the well-being of park guests. The tragic death of Marcelo Torres serves as a sobering reminder of the importance of safety in the theme park industry. While Disneyland and other parks are designed to provide guests with a fun and exciting experience, it is essential that they prioritize the safety and well-being of their visitors above all else. Marcelo's death was a devastating loss for his family. However, it also led to important changes and improvements in the industry, ensuring that parks are held accountable for the safety of their guests. May Marcelo Torres rest in peace.